has begun Operation Economic Outcast, an unprecedented campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its enablers. In the Second World War, D Day marked the historic beginning of a campaign with our allies to target and drive the enemy from its positions, including those in third countries. Today, in that same spirit, we are launching an economic onslaught against Iran's financial connections around the globe. Around the globe. Our objective is to sever every economic lifeline that sustains this tyrannical regime until Tehran stands alone. Iran's fanatics devote themselves to death to America and seek nuclear weapons to do just that. They have murdered and maimed more of our citizens and service members
All
than
right, look, Besson, yeah, I get that, but how are you going to get Russia and China to stop helping Iran and North Korea? How you going to get those guys who are highly adversarial to us, who love to just tell us to F off? How you going to get those guys to stop supporting Iran? Because we all know that China and Russia was giving these guys satellite imagery to strike our bases. We know they're giving them components for their missiles. So how are we going to stop that? Because I know for a fact that these are the guys that are pretty much pushing bricks. And they would love for us to just sit there and and let us cause further distrust within our dollar with sanctions. And now you got Iran telling all these other countries to, oh no, don't listen to it. And if you abide by it, we're going to attack you. So these countries are now looking at two things: one, them getting attacked, and two, that the fact that they might have to move off the US dollar or the petrodollar and go ahead and move into the BRICS currency or something else because they can't trust America to not use their dollar against them just because they don't like what they're doing. And trust me, like I said, nobody want to have to deal with that.
any other terrorist regime on earth. And they have been at war against America, their neighbors in the Gulf, and much of the world for 47 years. President Trump has taken action that his predecessors have long deferred. And under his leadership, America is no longer managing the Iranian threat. We are ending it. Our great armed forces have laid the groundwork for achieving the president's objective of preventing Iran from ever obtaining nuclear weapons. They have shown America's resolve to finally end this threat. And the strength of America's economy under President Trump allows us to wage this sustained financial operation alongside the might of our military. Iran now faces a very clear choice with only two paths before them: complete global isolation and a subsistence economy, or a path back to normalcy with an opportunity to rejoin the global economy. Today, we are launching Operation Economic Outcast to foreclose every other option available to the Iranian regime.
I think
Treasury has mapped every node, every facilitator, and every network that Iran has used to smuggle oil and evade sanctions. Beginning today, the actions of Treasury and other agencies will tighten the noose and
But
blood.
here's the thing, though, their biggest buyers is Russia and China, and Russia and China are already telling us that, well, yeah, we're not going to stop buying Iranian oil, especially at the cheap price that they give it to us at. So, like I said, how are we going to get two superpowers who are completely adversarial to us, who don't like to listen to us at all? How are we going to get them to stop buying from Iran when that is low key benefiting them in more ways than one? I really would need Besson to explain that. Like, maybe we can get the smaller countries to do so, but those two superpowers, yeah, definitely ain't doing it. Like, Pakistan definitely ain't doing it. North Korea, of course, they're not doing it. So, like, how are we really going to cut Iran off from the global economy? If anything, we're just going to cut them outside of the stride system or the petrodollar, and they're just going to go into BRICS. There's going to be probably the first fully formed BRICS currency country. Why? Because we're doing our best to kick them out of our system.
Every potential source of revenue that funds the IRGC and the evil Iranian regime. We are enforcing a zero leakage approach. There will be no minimal breathing space for the regime to rebuild its capacity to inflict terror against America and the world. The final refuge of this regime is the mistaken conclusion of nations that still finance the Iranian threat in the hopes of evading it. It is no longer acceptable to operate in the gray spaces of this conflict. Countries cannot claim they are blind to enabling this activity. Iran's enablers purchase, transport its petroleum. They facilitate the flow of its finances through exchange houses and free trade zones. They welcome Iran's flights and maintain registries on its behalf. They turn a blind eye to seaborne fuel transfers and overland transits. They condone illicit use of their banks, all the while concealing the extent of their complicity. The president is making phone calls to world leaders with specific requests to cease their interaction with the regime.
How's that
We are
going to
already
work?
seeing results. Over the weekend, comments from Iranian leadership clearly acknowledged the effect of this campaign, and nations that facilitate any interactions with the regime should quickly heed our message. Those who stand with the United States will reap the rewards of our partnership. Those who tether themselves to the Iranian regime should expect to share in the isolation of a withering regime. Teams from Treasury.
I mean, here's a part though, like Russia already isolated. China, I mean, we're not willing to isolate them because of the fact that we need them for our economy success. And North Korea, I mean, come on now, they've been isolated. So that's the problem. Iran's biggest allies are countries that we cannot really stop. I think that's what Bessent is not willing to admit. Iran's biggest allies, their biggest buyers are countries that we cannot stop. I mean, bro, Pakistan has a nuclear armed country. We can't really do anything to them. North Korea, nuclear armed. China, nuclear armed. Russia, nuclear armed. Both of those are superpowers, by the way. Let's not forget that. So, how are we going to bring economic turmoil upon a country that we need economically? And then how are we going to keep on putting sanctions on Russia when, I mean, let's be real, they found their way to completely subvert these sanctions. So is all the other countries we've been sanctioning for a while now, probably except for Cuba. So I'm really wondering, like Besson, I'm gonna be real with you. This is like what the Iranian general was saying. Like we're going back to old strategies that just don't work.
State and the US military are now meeting with their global counterparts to tell them that the United States expects action. Every country has a defined timeline to shut down activities we have identified. If they do not take action, we will do so unilaterally through Treasury authorities.
Hmm.
For example, every branch of Bank Melee must be shuttered and dark. And let me be clear, any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran will be removed from the US dollar system. The clock just started ticking.
I mean, Besson, come on now. Are you really about to carry that out though? So, and here's the thing, guys, just look at a map of Iran and you'll kind of see like who actually needs them. Like Iraq needs them, Pakistan, Afghanistan, I mean, Armenia. There's a lot of countries that actually do trade with Iran that actually need it because a lot of these guys can't really produce their own food. So to sit there and say, oh, of course, Turkey as well, like, what are we gonna cut Turkey off too? Like, really, bro? Because I don't think that's reasonable. So, what are we going to do here? Because it sounds like a lot of countries are just going to rebel against us at this point. Are they really going to abide by these sanctions? Are they really going to separate themselves from Iran, even though it's going to hurt them, just so America can win a losing war? Like, really? Ah, you know what? I don't know, whatever. I hope it works out, but I swear, bro, I have my doubts. Obviously, as you can hear, I have my doubts.
The new sectoral sanctions determinations issued today target five of Iran's most vital lifelines that it exploits in other countries: digital assets, technology, gold, aviation, and shipping. These measures broaden secondary sanctions risk for anyone foolish enough to continue conducting business with this regime and will accelerate the speed with which we pursue them. As I speak, Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control is also sanctioning over 60 entities, individuals, and vessels around the world that enable the Iranian regime to procure illicit nuclear and missile technology, conduct cyber operations, and generate oil revenue. This is a sustained campaign to collapse every last option for Iran. Let there be no ambiguity as to the position of the United States. An economic engagement of any kind with this murderous regime will expose those responsible to the full reach of American power. For decades, this regime has drawn strength from a calculus that regards Iranian retaliation as certain and American enforcement as negotiable. Under President Trump, that era is over. To the ordinary soldiers supporting this regime, as more and more of your paychecks stop or are supposedly just delayed, ask whether your commanders are leading your country to triumph or to ruin. And recall that the Berlin Wall fell when ordinary soldiers decided not to shoot at their own people. And to those who enable Tehran, do not discount the cost of testing Washington's resolve. No nation should expect to enjoy the rewards of our system while helping those who seek to destroy it. It is now a time for world leaders to make a decision between prosperity and isolation, peace and terror, America and Iran. The campaign we begin today will gather force with every day that follows.
All righty. We ain't gonna do the whole thing, but all right. So we pretty much get where he's going with this. He wants to isolate Iran economically, but here's the thing, though: it's like, how are you gonna do that with countries that are already defiant towards us? And how are you gonna do that with countries who's already looking at us with the side eye, going like, well, why